Hello folks, well I've just been sent something. Now whether this is correct or not, I think the fact that it's out, it does need to be looked at and it needs to be addressed, because if this is the case, we've not got long left before these numpties try it on in a massive way. So the message is, my wife's cousin is in the police and says it has already been agreed that from July, that's this year, it will be mandatory to carry the vaccine passport at all times when leaving the house, with the police being given new powers to stop people at random and asked to inspect their passport, with fines handed out to those who are unable to show it. This is likely to be announced in late May, and they are taking advice from the Israeli government, with Tony Blair, the link between the Labour and Conservative parties, to ensure there is no dissent from the political parties. Now then, are we seeing this? Now, just in relation to the Bristol riots, the police car that's been blazoned all over the show has damaged. When you look at the registration, it hasn't had an MOT for quite a long time. But that's not the interesting thing about it. The interesting thing of it is the fact that police vehicles don't have to have MOTs. So why are they using a car that's run out of an MOT disguised as a police car when police cars don't have MOTs? That's a prop. Yeah, that's a prop being used in order they can make it look like the public are getting violent. And it's also pretty obvious that when you look at the whole thing, the situation, the footage from the actual damage, that it is actually agent provocateurs actually doing that. So if that's the case, what we can expect now in this run-up to the end of May is a lot more black ops by the state to undermine the public, make us look terrible. And of course, all the idiots that have had the vaccination, you only have to look on social media to listen to them chit-chatting. It's ridiculous how pathetic these people are. They obviously believe they have had enough of you take the vaccine to support this move that they intend to do, if this memo is correct. Now, I have no reason to believe it isn't correct, but of course, as I've said, we don't know for sure. However, if it is, we need to start making a fuss now. We need to making a fuss now, because if we don't want to be following Israel, but you've got to also remember that this is British Empire, not England, not Scotland, not Wales, not Ireland. This is the British Empire. Israel is British Israel. British is an empire. It's an empire run by the Holy See. And it's managed to recruit a hell of a lot of Protestants in this country through their connection to Freemasonry. All right. Now, just as an added, in 2018, I had a young friend, young lad that I've known from him being a tot, who had joined the Marines and passed out just before Christmas in 2017, I think it might be. Now, when he was leaving, because he stayed with us over Christmas, I asked him, was he going down to Lympstone? Where was he going to be based? And he said, no, we're going up to Scotland for 2 weeks. And I said, what are you doing that for? He said, we're all now being trained to support the police. Okay. So this is 2017, going into 2018. So all soldiers now, as they are passed out, are off to Scotland to be trained in support of the police. Now, the next question I asked him was, in support of the police for what? And his response was, against the public. Okay. So this is getting serious now, folks. They are beta testing the game which is going to be thrust upon the world, both in Israel and here. And the tie being British Empire. Now, we know it's the baby boomers that have all run off and got the vaccine, quite simply because they are British imperialists. They believe in the British Empire. That's what they've been brought up on, because they have never had the capacity to actually investigate these matters for themselves. You know, that's the dichotomy for this generation, is that they have no concept of England. They think British as an empire. As a constitution. England has a constitution. Scotland has its own constitution. Wales doesn't have its own constitution, because Wales up till 1707 was England. And of course, Ireland now doesn't really have its own constitution in the sense that it's under Europe. So you can see the breakup that's gone on in the British Isles. It's not only here, it's everywhere. But they are beta testing this system, first in Israel and then here. And you need to be aware of what is actually going on. This is not something that needs to be taken lightly. This is something that we are going to have to get to grips with, and get to grips with this pretty rapid. You know, it's absolutely outrageous. And I've been watching certain videos now where the police are actually saying they don't have to issue the warrant cards. Now, that's garbage. I've also had people saying that they're taking a different oath. Now, there's a lot of people saying that, but nobody's come up with this other oath. So I'm not so sure that that's correct. But something's definitely changed, because on the 31st of December, I was told I couldn't see the warrant card of the policewoman on the scene and then the sergeant in Greenbank. And he said that's on my oath. Now, what is going on? Something has really changed that we're not being told. Okay, and, you know, it's getting serious now. Now, when you look at the percentages of people that have been vaccinated in the boroughs in Manchester, you're looking at 23%. It's a very small percentage of people that have actually run for this. And you can see quite clearly that the people that have run for this are the people that are already addicted to medication. The ones that are so addicted to the NHS because they're born idle, because they can't work, and they've gone through the off-the-job centre kind of stuff and into mental health and onto medication, so they don't have to work, so they can sit on their ass all day and watch television. These are the kind of characters that the government, British Empire, are depending upon to give the support needed in order they can push nonsense like this, if it is correct. So, this is my little warning here. You really need to start getting a grip here of what's actually about to take place, if they believe that they have the capacity to and authority to do this. But bear in mind, military on the streets will be in support of the police. And make no mistake about it, what happened in Bristol was a psyop. That was a black operation in order to undermine you out there, the taxpayer. You've actually paid for it. So it really is time that you started to wake up out of your slumber and stop believing everything that you get on the television and through the media in general coming out of Westminster. And Tony Blair's involved in this, remember. Tony Blair took this nation to war and slaughtered millions of people. Yeah? Tony Blair, if you were a soldier in those times, and you've been maimed or you've lost one, a loved one, that's Tony Blair. That's the kind of mindset Tony Blair operates for. Okay? You need to see what's going on and stop kidding yourself that everything's fine and everything's hunky-dory. It really isn't hunky-dory, and it really isn't fine. And if you don't start to find your courage and remember that you are an autonomous thinking man, male, female, not some kind of puppet to be bullied as though you were still at primary school, you know? So here we go. That is my short message. As soon as I've received this message from a trusted source, in my opinion, he's not sent me anything that doesn't bear some fruit down the line at some point. So That's just a short one, but we need to start to get this into your heads. And like I've said, if this is the case, then we can expect a lot more of what happened in Bristol. And I will put a video underneath this that explains fully the black op that was the riots at Bristol and the attacks on the police vehicles and police station. So, you're running out of time, people. You know, you're running out of time. So, and with that, I will say, till the next time.